My entire poker career has been met with a series of unique challenges. Within the last 5 years, I've started my journey with a $10,000 bankroll challenge, been banned from casinos for creating content, heavily critiqued for my style of play, bluffed off $1 million, and have publicly showcased the biggest financial downswing I've ever experienced, worth about $1.5 million. But these upcoming 7 days will be the biggest test of them all. I'll be competing against some of the most feared poker players in the game and rubbing elbows with Phil Ivey, Jason Kuhn, Fedor Holtz, and Steven Chidwick. We will be competing in buy-ins worth $15,000 all the way up to $30,000, and with a grand total prize pool over $11 million for first place across the board. I hope I can prove that I do belong. Let's run hot with event number 1. Good morning, it's day number 1 here. We're gonna play the 15K soon. Event number 1's gonna start up in about an hour. We find ourselves in Korea, and no better breakfast to start off the day than hitting up some Dunkin' Donuts. But we're getting ready to play the very first event. It's a $15,900 buy-in, our first ever Triton event, and here we are getting ready. The nerves are settling in. We are feeling all of the pressure, all of the hype, entering the beautiful space here in Korea, and we're off ready to go in our very first buy-in of a $15,000 event. First of many events to play, and this place is stunning, full of all the best pros from around the world. We are literally surrounded by the best players in the game. And the first time I pick up 10-9 of hearts, facing a 3-bet from the big blind. I make the call, but end up flopping a bunch of nothing. So I'm gonna muck my 10 high when my opponent throws out a continuation bet, and I'll muck my hand, losing the first hand of our Triton series. Officially on my first break of a Triton event. It's been swinging here and there, got involved in a 3-bet pot, got back 4-bet by John Jwanda, but have a little bit less than starting, which is totally fine. Got 170,000-ish. We started with 200,000 chips, so hopefully got lots and lots of play left for today. In this next hand, we pick up 10-7 of hearts in early position and raise things up. John Jwanda in the big blind, a legend in the game, a poker Hall of Famer, defends, and we get to play against one of the best. And the flop is magical in 10-8 deuce, 2 hearts. Top pair, flush draw, a lot of things happening for me, so I throw out a bet of about 10,000 chips, and my opponent makes the call. Turn gets even better. It is the 7 of hearts. We've got 2 pair here in the spot with the flush draw, the absolute world. Couldn't ask for a better spot, especially against a tough opponent like John Jwanda with over $26 million in poker earnings. I bet 26,000 chips now, sizing up for hopefully a big bet on the river. I mean, what can I possibly be afraid of? And John Jwanda goes into the tank and flicks in a call. So here we go to a river, which comes the Queen of Diamonds. So we don't get there with the flush. Overcard to our pair gets there, and maybe Jack 9 is a better straight. But I definitely cannot be scared about this. My opponent checks once again, and I'm going to go for another value bet, this time sizing to 75,000 chips into the middle. A pretty large bet, and my opponent puts in the call. We scoop a very, very nice pot. John Jwanda mucks his cards, and we're going to win our first major pot of this tournament. We're feeling pretty confident, feeling really good, and it's nice to even run good in one of the biggest tournaments we've ever played in before. Next, we immediately get into action against John Jwanda yet again. We've got aces this time against his pocket 10s for his starting stack. Massive hand all in pre-flop, and we are going to hold with aces. We knock out a very high caliber player in this field. This is massive momentum for us as we ended up having more chips than him, and we're going to skyrocket up to 450,000 chips over 2 starting stacks now. And we just knocked out John Jwanda, Poker Hall of Famer. His first poker tournament score was in 1997. He's literally been playing poker the exact same amount of time as I've been alive on this planet. So it feels amazing to knock out someone like that. And right after we get involved in the action with King Jack offsuit, I ended up raising pre-flop in the cutoff. Big blind defends, and we see a Queen 6-4 flop. My opponent check calls a small bet on the flop. Check checks the turn on the 3 of clubs, and now the Jack of clubs comes, and my opponent decides to block for 1.2 big blinds. Here, I am very suspicious of this. I decided to take my time. I think my hand is definitely good enough for a value raise, even though it's with the second pair and it might seem a little scary. He should have a lot of worse Jack X and some bluffs and maybe a 6 that is non-believing. So I decide to raise up to 8 big blinds. I get a snap call from my opponent and I win. Another great hand for momentum, and this actually ends up getting me to 8th in chips of this entire tournament right now. It's early in the tournament, very early goings, but I'm 8th in chips with over 500,000 chips. We started with 200,000, now 2.5 starting stacks, and we're on a roll, winning some pots. So the aces was pretty good. Currently still very, very early in this tournament, so feeling good, at least settled in. I'm not sitting under starting stack anymore, which is lovely. This is literally the most beautiful venue I've ever played at here in the Landing Casino in Jeju. Huge turnout in this 15K, so hoping for a really deep run today. Anyways, I'm getting dealt in. Oh my god, gotta play. In the next hand here, we get involved with the early position player whose last name is Hecklin, another very good professional here in tournaments. I have 10-7 offsuit, defend the big blind, and the flop is pretty magical in 9-8-4 rainbow. I check and my opponent bets a really large bet of 33,000. So I'm going to make the call with my open-ended straight draw, but the turn is a brick in the deuce of diamonds. Now I check it over to him, hoping my opponent can just give up and let me see a free card, which he very nicely does. Checks this back, and now the river comes the Queen of Hearts. I've missed my straight draw, and I'm kind of confused on what to do here. I think I need to be balanced with a lot of bluffs, but my opponent sized up so big on the flop. I think he's a little polarized, and I want to fold out any 9x that my opponent could check back the turn with. So I go for max pressure and go all in for 2 times the size of the pot. And my opponent folds, thank goodness. It's very nice to bluff out one of the stronger players at the table, but now Michael Adamos joins the table. For those who don't know who he is, this is one of the best poker players in the world and of our generation. He's played the highest stakes in the world, and with $24 million in earnings at just 31 years old, he's ranked first in earnings of all of Australia and known to be extremely aggressive. It's time to battle against one of the best in the world. We find ourselves in the next spot with King 10 of diamonds in the hijack, raise it up to 2 big blinds. Small blind 3 bets to 7.5 big blinds, and I'm going to make the call. We're playing at the 8K big blind level. Flop comes 4-3-5. And here, kind of confused my opponent, bets small. I think with King 10, we have just enough of the right price to call with our overcard and backdoor diamond draw. So I make the call, and the turn comes the 3 of spades. My opponent now decides to check and slow down, which gives me the green light to fire out a pretty big bet. And this time I fire out about 65,000 into the middle. He's got about 240,000 back, and he just rips it all in. Very bad bluff from me. I lose a significant amount of my chips, and I'm chipping down, heading into dinner break. Okay, we're on a 60-minute dinner break. Since I last spoke to you, I won every single hand for 2 hours, spun it up to 500K, and then I lost every single hand for the last 2 hours that we just played, and we're going to the feature table after this with 10 big blind, and I've got Adamo, Fedor, and Hecklin at my table, all crushers, and I've just got to spin 10 bigs, so gotta find a way to spin, nearing the end of late reg, so fingers crossed here. Luckily, I didn't get to play the feature table for too long after dinner break. I got moved shortly after, and thank goodness, because now I find myself all in on the secondary table with a short stack with 5-7 offsuit. Early position raises, and I defend the big blind off of 10 big blinds, and we see a flop of 8-5-6. Got bottom pair and a straight draw. I lead jam for 8.5 big blinds, and my opponent called with ace-9 offsuit. For my tournament life, we need to hold. We're in great shape as we really want to see a 9, but we don't want to pair a 7. And we end up doubling up and holding. We've got newfound life, and now with 17 big blinds in the next hand, I've got ace deuce suited. I end up going all in, which might be questionable, but I end up running into ace king. So can we chop or get lucky to still stay alive and spin up my 8 big blinds into 34? It does not come. Unfortunate now, very quick bust out. What was really great momentum quickly ends up to a bust out, but we busted just in time to fire our second bullet into this tournament. So giving Triton another $15,000, and let's go again, trying to spin up another stack. Kicked off the stream table, turned out to be bad. I thought it was going to be good to not play with Fedor, Adamo, and Hecklin, but couldn't spin the 18, 17 bigs I had, jamming ace deuce. Now we try to spin bullet number 2. Oh, we're with Steven. They say second charm's the lucky one, right? Lucky number 2. Immediately right off the bat, we are all in as we are late regging, and with 13 big blinds, I jam ace-6 offsuit on the button. Very clear hand to be all in with, but I'm a little scared when the small blind calls. But we see we're up against ace-4 suited, so somehow my ace-6 is like, I don't know, 1% ahead, but basically we're going to chop a whole lot of the time. And when the board runs out fairly clean, we don't see a 4 at least, but somehow our 6 kicker actually plays. I had no idea that that was even possible to chop ace-6 versus ace-4, but this is one of the times where I get the full scoop and we double up. So very profitable start into the second bullet. And then in the next hand, I've got ace-queen offsuit under the gun. I raise it up and we get the low jack and big blind to call. We see a very good looking flop of queen 9-6 rainbow. So top pair, top kicker, and here with a fairly short stack still, I bet 25,000 chips into the middle. Low jack gets out of the way, but then the big blind decides to check raise me, and I'm kind of confused as to what to do. I'm sitting with about 20 big blinds. It seems like a really easy spot for me to be all in here, obviously, with the top pair, top kicker, but could I just be beat? Could my opponent just be bluffing? I don't really want to fold out all his bluffs, so I decided to just make the call versus this check raise, and we're off to a turn which comes a king. No freaking way. I couldn't have thought of the worst card to see. Jack 10 gets there, King Queen gets there. All of the hands I just had dominated now just doesn't seem so great. And it's even worse as my opponent is all in for 13 big blinds, and it's basically the rest of my stack as well. And I'm lost, guys. I mean, I should have been all in on the flop before. I don't know if I just saved my tournament life, but I make the fold. It's a very gross fold, but we're going to move on with a short stack with the blinds going up, and we actually get moved into the featured table. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get very good footage of me, but with only 8.5 big blinds, I'm in the cutoff, and I'm all in with ace-king suited up against queen-jack of diamonds. We're ahead, but it's still a flip. With only 117 players left, we're eking closer and closer into the money. And this is a very big sweat, but my opponent flops a jack. Then I turn a king! I turn a king! And we end up finding a clean river, which is a 7 of clubs. And oh my goodness, here we go. I find a very crucial double up. And in the next situation, with the big blind increasing yet again, I've got 8-6 offsuit defending the big blind. I end up flopping a 6. Early position raises. I defend 8-6 offsuit off of a very short stack yet again. And when the flop comes 6 deuce deuce, I think with 5.5 big blinds, the pot is over 6 big blinds here, and I'm just going to jam my stack in there. My opponent actually ends up making the call with 10-9 of spades. You can see he might be priced in for the call, but when the turn comes the jack of hearts, river 3 of hearts, once again we survive off of a very short stack. Can we convert one of these double ups into a real spin up here? I feel like I've got life. And now, inching once again closer and closer to the money, with 10 minutes left till the end of the night before we bag. I've got ace-4 of spades in the cutoff with 11 big blinds. I'm all in, and so is the small blind and big blind. We're up against pocket 10s and ace-queen offsuit, and oh my goodness. The queen high flop basically means I am out the door. I need runner, I guess 7s or 4s in order to win this pot and have a chance. And that is not going to be the case here as I lose this pot. I'm eliminated, and we were 10 minutes away from bagging up for day 2. But here we go. 2 bullets in the dust to start off my day. But what an amazing opportunity this was. My first experience to play a Triton poker event against the best in the world. And the ability to dust off 2 buy-ins, losing $31,000 today is definitely something to be grateful for. I'm looking forward to the rest of the week. This tournament broke insane records, and for a $15,000 buy-in to have nearly $1 million for first place is quite the opportunity. Nice to play for 12 hours today. Plus 14 off the money. Tough to win turbos and all-ins, but thanks for sticking around for all this time. So close. Ish. Not really, though. Still very far away from winning or even being in the money. Now I guess I can sleep a little bit longer. But this is only the beginning of a 7-8 day bender of Triton poker. So the 20K is going to be tomorrow. Hoping for maybe another long day, but maybe not bust right at the end of it. There is plenty of opportunity for the rest of the week. This 15K broke records for Triton for most number of entrants, and for 15K to have over $1 million for first place is pretty cool. So I would expect the future tournaments this week will be just as big. Long week ahead. Lots of good things to come, hopefully. Day 2 of Triton series and week here. This is a 20K. It's going to be a turbo, 30-minute levels, and ready to get going. Yesterday was such an insane turnout where I assume it's going to be similar today. Yesterday I had $1 million in first place for a 15K. Can only imagine it'll be bigger for a 20K today, so coffee in hand, ready to go. Day 2 is even more star-studded than yesterday, with a bigger buy-in, meaning bigger names like Sean Winter, Justin Saliba, Chris Brewer, Chrissy Foxen, Fedor Holtz, and somehow myself, sitting amongst all the sharks with just a buy-in and a dream. Today I'm graced yet again by John Dwanda, someone that I knocked out yesterday in the 15K buy-in, and we get involved right off the bat. There's an undergun raise to 2.5 big blinds at the 1K big blind level. John Dwanda 3 bets to 8,500, and I pick up aces in the small blind, making it 25.5 thousand. Action folds back to Dwanda, who makes the call pre-flop, and we're going to a flop of 8-3 deuce. I start off with a pretty large bet of around half pot to 26.5 thousand, and my opponent actually ends up putting in a raise to 56,000. Putting in a huge majority of his chips. We're in level 2 of this tournament, and I'm sitting with an amazing dream spot with aces. I come along for the call. The turn comes a king, and action goes check, check, and then the river comes a brick deuce, and I've got to go get my value, and I'm going to put my opponent all in. Yet again, against John Dwanda, I have the goods, I've got aces, and my opponent isn't in love with this situation, but does flick in a call with pocket queens, so an insane cooler yet again, and I get the opportunity to knock out this Hall of Famer legend of the game again with pocket aces with the exact same hand. What an absolute dream start, dream scenario for me in this $20,000 buy-in. I'm up to 2 starting stacks, and suddenly I'm 17th in chips. We're still super early in the tournament. It's only level 2 or level 3. But at this stage, I'm happy to take chips whenever I can get it. And it's very cool to cooler a legend in the game and take his chips like that.
There were 3 people all in at risk on the bubble.
You're sharing the luck,
table,
and they all won.
They all won.
Wow. Mid-tourney?
No.
Pre-tourney.
2 swaps, and people I would swap with normally.
But you already
but
swapped out.
I can't.
Leon's still in?
Leon's still in.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That is good to retain something there.
In the next spot at the 5,000 big blind mark, I've got ace-8 of diamonds in early position. I raise up to 10,000. We get the button, who's Jesse Lonis, GPI number 1 in the world, by the way, in all of tournament poker right now, makes the call. The big blind comes along as well, so 3 ways to a flop of 9-7 deuce rainbow. The big blind checks over to me, and I actually decide to throw out a bet here to 3.7 big blinds. It's just a board I don't think the button is going to hit very often, and hoping to just get a fold from the big blind as well, but the plan goes off the rails. Jesse on the button makes the call, and the big blind ends up folding, so the complete inverse of what I was hoping to happen happened. The turn comes the jack of spades, bringing in a backdoor flush draw, and now at this stage I think I'm already here. We're just going to continue with the bluff, especially now turning some equity now that any 10 can give me a straight. So I bet 5.2 big blinds, and Jesse, definitely not one known for folding. Not exactly sure why I'm trying to bluff him off a hand here. He comes along for a call yet again. The river comes a 6 of diamonds now. Doesn't really change the board a whole lot, and if I'm repping a straight, if I'm repping 2 pair or a set, we're gonna go for it. I'm all in for his stack. It's about 20 big blinds. Pretty large bet here, and my opponent doesn't like folding, but ends up letting it go for me here. Another bluff gets through, and it's a huge, monumental moment for me here. Getting these big bluffs through on the river is something I'm not super used to, but now it just allows me to go completely on cruise control. And being able to win pots, make bluffs, it seems like I'm making the right decision every single chance I get today. And it's just a great start for confidence. It's a great start for me to settle my nerves in such a big buy-in and to have everything go my way so far in a prestigious event like a Triton 20K event. It's truly special to be able to win all these pots early on. Speaking about legends in the game, we get graced by Shiina Okamoto. If you don't know who she is yet, well, here's the gist. She made history this past summer at the WSOP. For 3 years straight, she did something absolutely incredible by not only final tabling at the WSOP Women's event, she got second, first, and then first again in back-to-back-to-back years, which is unheard of, to be honest. To completely dominate a field like that in a $1,000 buy-in with massive number of runners, and to be able to consistently finish in heads up 3 straight times and actually close it out back-to-back times for this specific bracelet. Gotta give kudos to her. She's sitting next to me and we end up playing a pot together, which of course I don't win. So just another testament to how prestigious these fields are in Triton events.
Haven't checked in a while. We just made it through end of late reg on 1 bullet, which is pretty sweet. Somehow still in, and like, to be reflective on how the day's gone, I'm actually kind of happy and proud of how things have gone. I have had no value outside the one time I had aces and then got all my chips. But then everything else after that has been like kind of murky in between spots where I'm bluffing and things aren't like 100% clear, and some bluffs have worked, some bluffs haven't, and I'm still alive. Something to be happy about and something to be proud of. So it's been a tough table. I had Fedor at my table for a while, and there's a lot of other tough players in the field, obviously, in these Triton tournaments. So maybe we can spin this up now. I have just a little over 400K, so I have about 40 bigs going to the 10K big blind mark. Mr. 7th in chips.
You're recording. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing a thing.
I won't talk about the stuff I was going to talk about then.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man.
Nice.
How you doing?
Alive. I have still been bluffing.
Good.
But I'm still alive, so I'm here.
Put some carrots.
We might have to go. Okay. I f***ed up. We did too much talking. I missed my big blind. That's a disaster. I just missed my big blind in a 20K.
Another force to be reckoned with, Steven Chidwick joins the table. Carrying $68 million in live tournament earnings, he's considered the best poker player in the game right now at this very moment. And to have him on my left is intimidating, but also so excited right now to test my skills against one of the best if the time arises.
All right, it is 12:30 in the night, so it's been about a good 12 hours. We have 90 minutes left. There's 80 players left. 55 make the money. I don't know, something like that. So we're super close. I've got like 16 big blinds, 90 minutes to go. I really would not like to repeat what happened yesterday. Fingers crossed. We just survive and coast into day 2 with piles of chips.
There's no time to waste as we're right into the action. I've got a pretty short stack with 12 big blinds, but with ace-5 offsuit under the gun, I've been pretty snug so far, pretty card dead. I'm gonna raise up to 60,000, and Ebony in the big blind makes the call. Heads up to a flop of King Jack Deuce. Ebony checks, and I throw out 1 big blind of a bet to 30,000 here. Considering I've only got 10 big blinds left, I don't need a bet too big, and she comes along for the call. The turn, 10 of clubs. Well, that's going to seal my fate at this point of this hand. I'm already made up in my mind. I'm going to be all in, unless somehow Ebony beats me to the pot of being all in. But she checks once again, and I fire out 90,000 chips, worth 3 big blinds, and worth a whole lot of my stack here. I'm just hoping for a fold, but man, it gets really dicey when she comes along for a call yet again. And we're going to see a river. It's not the queen we're looking for. It's the 6 of diamonds. And once Ebony checks for a 3rd time, here we go. I try to look as calm, cool, collected as humanly possible. Here we are, nearing the end of day 1. We've only have to survive 1 more hour, and we're actually getting really close to the money. I'm gonna bluff it off for my tournament life because I just can't have her have it. I'm all in, basically, for 185,000 chips, and we really need a fold here, Ebony. Please save me. I'd raised under the gun off of 12 big blinds. I'm telling the story of having a really strong hand, and I don't happen to have it this time, but I need you to fold to save my tournament life so bad. And she does. She finds the fold. I win the chips, and I can finally breathe a huge sigh of relief. Nothing makes you feel more alive than bluffing it off all in on the river when you're getting close to the money in one of the biggest buy-ins of your entire life, right? And this time, with 12 players off the money, we're all in a massive pot. We've got pocket kings against ace king. We have ace on the window, followed by a king, the case king. What an unbelievable surprise to see. We're 12 off the money. I double up here and eliminate my opponent. So this was an insanely huge pot to win. And what an amazing surprise to see the very last king in the deck right underneath that dreaded ace. I double up here. It feels like I've got piles now, especially with the bluff getting through, and now with the kings winning an all-in, and we are officially on the bubble. 56 players left, and we've gotten all-in on a different table. Got a big, huge shout out to Ren Lin for calling it off all-in with 9-8. And hits a pair on the river to eliminate Nielsen, who is the bubble boy of this event. But how amazing is it to get to celebrate this in the money cash out moment with our buddy Wolfgang. We both take our first trips to a Triton event here in Korea. It's our first cash ever in an event like this. It's a huge milestone unlocked for the both of us, and I couldn't be happier doing it alongside our good friend.
Vloggers can play too, maybe. First Triton cash. It's courtesy of Renlin. It's just man of the people, truly. And he just spinks the 9 on the river. Easy. Really unlucky for Nielsen, actually.
Once we're in the money, we cruise the remaining few minutes left of the night and end up bagging up for day 2 of this tournament tomorrow, starting in just a few hours. It's 2:30 in the morning. We've played literally all day for 14 hours. It's time to call it a night. We've got a sweat tomorrow for 1.3 million. We got a spin. There's like 50 players left. First Triton cash to get the monkey off the back, and Wolfgang's still in, and maybe vloggers can play poker too. Who knows? Fingers crossed again. I don't know. This is day 3 of my Triton high stakes week, and we've got a golden opportunity to cash in big. We're made day 2 of the $20,000 buy-in. We're in 35th in chips with 13 big blinds, and we're hoping to spin. I'm giving away 1% of all my tournament cashes for someone who uses code Rampage on Club WPT Gold. So far, we've secured a $34,000 min cash. So right now, I'll be giving away $340, but my eyes are on the first place prize of $1.3 million. If I'm able to win, I'll be giving away $13,000 to one lucky person who signs up on Club WPT Gold with code Rampage. Click the link in the description below. Online poker is available in the US for real money from micro to high stakes. And on September 21st, I'll also be hosting a $100,000 free roll tournament where everyone who uses my code is eligible to play. It's time to focus up on a big day 2. It's my first Triton cash, and I'll have to spin up my 13 big blind stack.
Just in time, day 2 is about to get started. We're gonna go to the table. Got 13 big blinds and a dream for 1.3 million. And I think the table draw is above average compared to the field. So we can win some all-ins, lose some all-ins. And we have a really good sight on our buddy Alex here. We're right next to each other, so we can see what's going on. You're so well dressed.
Why not us?
Why not?
It's a day 2 chain. I wasn't gonna bring it out unless I made day 2, so.
Here we are. You've done it. That looks so sick. You're gonna blind all the cameras up there.
The nerves are high, the tensions are high, and on the very first shuffle, I pick up my favorite hand, pocket 4s. I've got 13 big blinds, and I'm in the cutoff, and I'm going to be all in. The button re-jams his hand with pocket 7s, so this might be a disaster. We got a 20% chance to win, and the flop gives me no help, but the turn gives me some life. Any spade or any 4 to stay alive for a massive double up. And I bink the 4 of hearts. Huge double up here, and now I'm sitting 17th in chips with 29 big blinds. We found a miracle lifeline, and now we have a stack to play with and hopeful for a deep run. There's 50 other players left between me and this Triton title. The rest of the field is filled with crushers, but hopefully we can keep the run good going while also playing our A game, because we have another crusher at the table to play against. It's Ben Heath. With nearly $33 million in live tournament earnings, we play against him in this very next hand. I'm in the hijack with Jack 8 of spades and I raise 2 big blinds. Ben Heath defends his big blind and we're off to a flop of 9-7 deuce all diamonds. My opponent starts off with a check and I throw out a small bet of 1.3 big blinds and my opponent decides to make the call. The turn comes the 3 of hearts, a complete brick that doesn't change the board, and when my opponent checks once again, I think my hand is actually weak enough to go for a polarizing bet on the turn. We've got some equity with an overcard, with a straight draw, but no diamonds to go with our hand. I fire out 8 big blinds into the middle, a pretty chunky bet, but here my opponent does make the call for 480,000 chips. The river comes the 8 of hearts, so we improve to second pair. Definitely not good enough to bet for value now, and action goes check, check. My opponent shows 7-6 offsuit with a 6 of diamonds. Pair of 7s is no good, and we win with a pair of 8s, being very lucky on this river here, and my chip stack skyrockets me to 6th in chips with all the momentum going my way. I literally couldn't have asked for a better start to this day 2. Until that is, we pick up pocket kings in the small blind facing a low jack who goes all in for 12.5 big blinds. I isolate and rejam, and we see we're up against queen 10 of diamonds. So another massive pot brewing here. We're a heavy favorite this time. Can we hold? Flop is pretty scary, coming jack 9 high, giving my opponent an open-ended straight draw, but the turn and rivers are clean. Pocket kings will hold, and we scoop up another massive pot coming our way. I'm all smiles at this point. The vibes are high. I'm feeling so good and confident as we're running deep in our first ever Triton high stakes tournament.
Wow, chips.
Yeah. Free roll. Can I sign up?
Sure. You're not a U.S. citizen though, right?
What does it value?
You really want the $50 in equity? Yeah. Yum yum. We went to the stream table. So that's cool. Good luck, fellas. We are balancing tables. People just randomly get moved all the time when people get busted out, so everyone's got the same number of players. There's 36 players left. Hopping on the stream soon.
Oh, you have one mic?
I have over there.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I'll help you with that.
Great.
This goes in your pocket.
thanks. Hide it? Yeah. Okay. Sure. Interesting table. If I sit on the table, then I am chip leader of the table, which doesn't really mean a whole lot, but it does mean I can have some easier decisions because everyone's going to be pretty shallow, which is fine. Roman Tarabik is a pretty good player, and then I don't know the rest of the people, but Roman is seat 3. He like just crushes online and won the main or something in the Triton main recently, so he knows what he's doing. But everyone's pretty short stacked, so it should be easy decisions for the most part. Maybe I just pick up kings every single time and just stack everyone.
I don't know if the stream footage was captured or not, but I lost half my stack in a spot where I might have made a blunder. Big oopsie. I had 7-3 suited, and I'm on the small blind, and the big blind, we were playing 12 effective, and we're on like a small pay jump, and the blinds were weird. Anyways, I ended up just shoving for 12, which seems bad. I thought it was like 1 pip too loose. I think 7-4 we can easily just go in and it's fine. 7-5 is a no-brainer. But 7-3 suited reached a little too wide, and I thought with the implication of being on a small pay jump affected some things. Ran to ace-8, lost. I've got 12 big blinds in a dream or something like that. Not super proud of that. So we got 23 players left, final 3 tables. Pay jumps are starting to matter a little bit now, but before they didn't. But every like few players who bust, we just get an extra couple $1,000.
Hey,
Spin.
cheers, brother. TV table. Good luck.
Good luck. After losing that hand with 7-3, it feels like all of my momentum has been lost. All of the run good I built up earlier in the day has ran into a wall of card death. I fold and fold and fold, and in these tournaments where the structures are very, very quick, it feels like a turbo. You gotta win hands every single orbit. And here, just folding for almost 2 hours straight, I've now chipped all the way down from my 12 big blinds after the hand down to 5 big blinds, and I'm facing the pressure here with about 20 players left in the tournament.
All right, consensus is in for my friends. Shout out to Joseph and Joe Chong. I torched off a lot of money in equity. I think it's like 2 pips too wide, very unnecessary. Could have limp folded, could have raised folded, could have preserved lots of chips. Because this average stack is like 25 bigs, and I just torched off 12, which is like a significant chunk. At least I'm still alive, so focusing on some positives. Got some stuff to work on. Not the best at poker, not very polished at all. 0 for 1 in terms of decision making today, I guess, in terms of this one. I don't know, maybe I'm being too harsh on myself, but that was a blunder.
I can't believe this. I went in blind to call off my tournament.
Oh,
I was
you're
in the big blind.
with one big blind left? Wow, did you have a fun sweat?
Yeah. I turned a flush draw.
I might be blind here too.
Oh, we'll hang around.
There just might be. Maybe not. 18 left, 17 players get a little pay jump of 7,000. I've got 5 bigs going into the big blind, which means I'm gonna have 3 if I fold the big blind. I would like the extra $7,000 somehow, but I think I'm gonna be all in very soon at some point. I like Matas, but I'm rooting for an extra $7,000.
Of course.
God damn it.
He's such a nice guy.
I'm rooting for you.
Are you guys bottom too?
He's not anymore. I am for sure.
Are you
I'm gonna be in the big blind.
What's your last name?
Symbolos.
Oh, that's the move. Yeah, you're third.
You have life now.
Yeah.
You can breathe.
You're in third place, but not in the going the good way.
Look at the position.
Oh.
I've got some work to do. Shout out to Tony. Ran Lin again. He knocked out the bubble boy, giving me an extra $7,000. This guy's the best. I've got 2 bigs going into the bottom. Thank you to Ren Lin. I'm one away from a 8,500. Yeah, it's whatever. That pay jump's not worth it with 3 big blinds. But I'm on the button. I don't want to fucking redraw. GG to Matas. I like him a lot. But that means we're 15 players left, and I just squeaked in and got like 2 pay jumps. Or 14 left now? Everyone's dying. I just locked up like 2 different pay jumps. So we went from like 62K locked up to 85. And I've got 2 bigs. Poker's great. Final 2 table redraw. I can't even be upset. I was on the button. I had 2 big blinds, so like being on the button with 2 big blinds is huge. But I just got like a free 15,000, I think. So whatever happens, happens at this point. I got 2 bigs, can't really control anything. I'm still like not happy with my blunder with 7-3 because if I didn't do that, I would still just be fine. But I think if I'm all in, I'm either gonna triple up or bust, and oh well.
So I've blinded my way down to 3 big blinds. And I get moved to the stream table, and I'm in early position, and I pick up what is considered an absolute premium. I peel an ace. It's ace-3 offsuit, and off 3 big blinds, this is a mandatory all-in. It feels like I'm already free-rolling this entire tournament, given all the pay jumps I've made, being able to fold from laddering up from 23rd players all the way down to 15 players. So this is a slam dunk all-in, and we see a call from the big blind with Jack-5 offsuit. We're gonna need to win this one. I'm ahead for my tournament life here, and winning this would be crucial to get back into the game, going from 3 big blinds all the way up to 8. Unfortunately, the Jack-5 is going to win, and that eliminates me from the tournament in 14th place. This amazing ride comes to an end. I couldn't be more grateful for all the run good in this specific tournament, and to nearly 5x my cash. Feels like an incredible dream to have a chance to win that $1.3 million for first place. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm very happy to be able to ladder up and win almost $20,000 in pay jumps. But here we are. This is where the $20,000 tournament comes to an end.
25K field looks bad to start. Got like 2 free pay jumps. Okay, I got 84. It's not bad. I'll take a good start. Can free roll some other stuff, but I was in for 2 bullets in the 15, 1 bullet in the 20. It's profit like 40 so far. And then I'll hop into the other 25s and 30s and stuff later. So far, happy with the result. Fun thing, I'm giving away 1% of all my tournament caches for anyone that signed up with code Rampage on Club WPT Gold. So my $84,000, $84,500 means someone who signed up with the code Rampage will win $845. Math is difficult. $845 going to someone who used my code Rampage on Club WPT Gold. It's available in 46 states in America, and it's the newest online poker site in the US. So
click the link down in the description below. And maybe one of you guys will win the next tournament cash that happens. Maybe hopefully in 25K. That'd be great. Breaking news. The person on the other table busted at the same hand as me. So we're gonna combine 14th and 13th place money together. So we split the I think 85 and then 95. And then we're gonna chop it. So yeah, I got a little pay jump, which is great. An extra 5K in the pocket. It's almost like I got 2.5 pay jumps off of 2 big blinds. This is a huge win. I've never been happier busting out of a tournament at the final 2 table. This is incredible. After the 20K, we're back. Gonna reg event number 3, which is 25K. Shout out to this person. He signed up with my code Rampage on Club WPT Gold for the entire year, or as long as I'm with WPT. I'm gonna give away 1% of all my tournament cashes, and they just won $895. So shout out to them. Let's max this 25K. We're gonna have 16 big blinds. It's gonna be huge. There's 350 players in right now. I think there's gonna be a little bit more. So first place is gonna get 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 million or something insane. So here we go. Fingers crossed once again. Let's just keep the good vibes going. Let's just keep on cashing tournament, maybe. Hopping into my table in the $25,000 buy-in, we've got another star-studded lineup. We've got Daniel Devoris and Adrian Mateos, both elite competition at my table here. Moved right into the big blind with 16 bigs, and I got Adrian Mateos and Daniel Devoris on my table. Not the best table draw, but there's gonna be 400 people in this tournament, which is insane. So probably one of the biggest 25Ks that ever exists. Ever in poker. And right off the bat, we get involved in the big blind with King Jack of clubs. There's a button raise, then a small blind 3-bet, and off of about 16, 17 big blinds, I decide to go all in with this hand, knowing both opponents can be very capable of being light here. And luckily, both of my opponents fold, so I get a nice pickup of chips. Then at the 25K big blind level, I pick up Ace Jack offsuit in the cutoff. I raise the 2 big blinds, and we get faced with a call from the big blind, who's none other than Daniel Devoris himself. We go to a flop of 5-5-7 rainbow, and my opponent checks. I bet out 30,000 of chips, small 1.2 big blind bet. Then my opponent check raises to 3.2 big blinds here. And I'm thinking about all the options in this spot with Ace Jack offsuit. I understand my opponent's strategy. He's gonna have 7s a lot of the time, but on top of that, he's going to have a lot of draws and a lot of unconnected, non-paired hands here at this point. And I don't think my opponent's really gonna have too many 5s, considering he only has 12 big blinds to play with, and those are not as incentivized to fast play at the stack depth. Ultimately, I decided to go all in, thinking if my opponent has a draw, my ace high is ahead. But if he has a 7, then I'm kind of behind, but I'm putting it more likely he has a draw, but he ends up making the call with 9-7 of clubs. Totally okay, because we turn a jack for top pair. Amazing to be a huge favorite to win this hand, but the river 7. I double up my opponents. I get relatively very lucky, then very unlucky to lose this pot and chip down to 5 big blinds and a dream. And with 5 big blinds, I feel like my back is against the wall here. I fold on the button, I fold on the cutoff, then I pick up King 8 offsuit in the low jack. And I think this is just a fine spot to gamble. With 5 big blinds, you gotta be all in a lot, and with a high card like a king, seems okay to be all in. After playing for a few hours now, my tournament life and my fate is at risk, as the player to my left immediately calls the all in with Ace 9 offsuit. We're gonna need to win a flip. We're behind by a little bit here. That's about 40% pre-flop. Let's see what our fate holds. We do not improve, and after a roller coaster ride of this $25,000 buy-in, our experience comes to a close. It's one way to torch 25K. Slightly tilted, maybe? Not really. Ace Jack was kind of close. I've had a lot of hope on the turn when I hit the Jack on the turn, and then life sucks out when he hits the 7 on the river. And then I'm left with like 5 bigs, so whatever. Have to jam king. Bullshit. Because I have 5 bigs in a dream. Close to the money-ish. We were like 28 off the money. It's like close, but not that close. Sad. But 2 more tournaments, 30K and a 25K to close things off. So time to regroup and get back at it tomorrow. Post bust out depression hits hardest. 1, when the buy-ins are quite large, like 25Ks, and losing them kind of hurts. Secondly, when I have an inkling that I might have made a mistake. I think that is when it really hurts. I think when I went all in with the King 8, in-game, felt like it was a little too loose. but I was a little tilted, obviously, from the ace-jack hand, and I reconfirmed the suspicion. King 9's all in, King 8 folds, and it's losing small. Even though it's for 5 bigs, I kind of wanted to gamble, and it's not the right mindset to be in. Ace-jack hand was completely standard and kind of unlucky, I guess. I don't know. It's always these like close fringe spots. You just have to take the spot against good players, and Divorce is obviously a top tier opponent. Obviously still like very grateful to have the opportunity to play for $1.9 million for first place. This tournament was absolutely huge. Also pretty frustrating because it's currently 2:30 in the morning and you play all day and you're like 20 minutes away from bagging and you just have nothing to show for it. Not a bag, not anything. You just pick your butt back home and sulk in the hotel room. Anyways, so far on the trip, we're about halfway through. We got 2 more tournaments left. I'm in these tournaments for 2 bullets at 15, 1 bullet at the 20, and 1 bullet at the 25, and include 6% rake on top of these bullets. In for 75, out for what I cashed for in the 20K, which was 89.5. So still up on the trip, but we got a 30K tomorrow and another 25K to end the trip. So tomorrow is going to be the biggest buy-in of the series for me. Hoping to have better luck and better results. We'll see what happens, but definitely frustrated. I mean, these are just really long days, and to have nothing to show for it is a little frustrating at the end of the day, but that's poker for you.
This is currently day 4 of the Triton series, and I'm not playing anything just yet. There's a 30K going on that I'm kind of iffy about playing, but as of right now, there's 19 players left in the huge 25K that had $1.9 million in first place. Our buddy Steven, still in here behind me. And also on the main stage is Wolfgang crushing it. He's got like 30 bigs. I think he's 9th out of 19 players left right now, and he's crushing it. And he has a chance to win $1.9 million. So we're gonna just rail them as they're running deep in this, and probably the biggest 25K in poker history. So it's gonna be a fun sweat. It's a nice little friendship sweat. So I'm rooting them on and waiting out this 30K until it looks maybe better or maybe just max it. So we're currently just watching them, railing them, hoping they just FT and win the damn thing, which would be cool. And I'm waiting to maybe max the 30K or wait till it looks better to hop in and play. Steven's all in here with Queen 4 for his tournament life, and he flops a 4, needs to fade a 10, please. Oh my God, so annoying. Steven was short, flopped a pair, turned 2 pair, then gets rivered by a gutter ball. I had to fade 4 outs on the river to find a pretty big double up. So that's unfortunate. 1 friend down, 1 more friend to rail. Go Wolf. All right, it's been a few hours. Alex is still killing it in this 25K. There's 11 players left, and he's locked up like 150 or 200K, which is incredible. I'm about to go max this 30K in about 6 or 7 minutes or so. I don't know what I figured. I just wanted to wait until the field looked a little bit better, and then now I'm just gonna max with like 20 big blinds in a dream, and hopefully just get to watch Alex continue crushing this 25K. It's absolutely insane how he's playing, and I'm just rooting for him, so it'd be good. Team vloggers, him with the Triton champion would be amazing. Field is crazy. This is the max late reg line. I also forgot to mention that this is the biggest buy-in I've ever played before. I've never played a $30,000 buy-in, so there's like some nerves to a certain degree, and just like reaching a new threshold is always really cool, and to do it at Triton is probably the best time to do it. Good news is that I'm only in for 1 bullet because I'm max late regging, so I can't possibly be in for 2 bullets. But it's cool to like reach new thresholds and see what happens in the biggest buy-in of my life. So, Team 1 is the 3rd row in the front. Who do we have here?
It's our turn to play a tournament, and we max late reg the $30,000 buy-in, and our table is a row from hell. We've got David Peters, Alex Ponikovs, Vladimir Minko, Steven Song, and Roman Harabic. All elite crushers in the game. They've mastered tournaments. They have infinitely more experience than me in playing the format of tournament poker, along with these high rollers and Triton tournaments. So strap in your seatbelts. We're playing against some of the best today. And we're gonna get started with Ace Queen offsuit. We're under the gun versus the big blind, who's Roman Harabic, and we are off to a single raise pot of Jack 9-3 all hearts. My opponent checks out of me, and I'm going to throw out a very small bet of 1.3 big blinds, which is about 15,000 chips. And then we get faced with a check raise to nearly 4 big blinds from Roman. From what I've known about Roman, well, he's pretty aggressive and also very good. So with ace, queen, no heart here, it feels a little bit ambitious to call, but I think it's worth it against our specific opponent. I've come here to battle, definitely didn't come here to fold. I'm going to make the call. The turn now is the 4 of hearts. So 4 hearts out there. I'm sitting with ace, queen, no hearts, and now my opponent decides to slow down and check. Here's the issue about battling against good players and being short stacked. I actually don't have that much maneuverability with how many chips I can put into the middle. So going over my options here, I mean, I'm sitting with about 9 big blinds left and the pot is a little bit more than that. I go for a very creative small bet of 25,000 chips. Really putting my opponent to the test here. I give Roman a lot of credit for being able to check raise me with a lot of non-heart holdings. So if there are hands that don't contain a flush or maybe like 2 pair, I think this small bet will certainly apply a lot of pressure to my opponent. And when he does make the call, I'm feeling all of that pressure right back because we're going to the river. There's 4 hearts on the board. You can easily have a flush and I've got completely nothing. River, queen of hearts giving me top pair. But you know, that's no good. Now there's 5 hearts out in the middle, and I've got a flush, but this really isn't worth a whole lot. So my opponent checks once again, and now at this stage, I've come this far. Why do I always have to bluff? Do I have a bluffing problem? Why can't I just have a good hand? Are the things I'm thinking about, but I've come to this point down the road. If it's going to come to this and we're going to play one hand and that's our experience in the 30K, so be it. But I'm going to battle hard for this tournament and I'm basically putting myself all in. It's about 7 big blinds and I left a chip back. And now we have to wait the brutal and dreaded 30 seconds as my opponent's in the tank. Will he call? Will he fold? Will I get another amazing bluff through and get some chips slowly but surely? And we earn it. Those 30 seconds felt like hours to me, but we get the fold and the dealer pushes us the chips. And what an incredible rush this was. We win the pot and we get some well-earned chips. The next clip, action folds to me. I'm in the small blind and David Peters to my left has 5 big blinds in the big blind. With queen 9 of diamonds, seems like a very easy all in, and my opponent makes the call with king deuce offsuit. So it's his king high versus my queen high, but we flop a flush draw, so we've got a lot of chances here to win and stack our opponent, but he holds. Somehow fades all the outs in the deck. King high is going to win and double up, so David Peters got some chips. Very dangerous opponent when he has chips. In the very next deal, we get involved yet again. There's an early position raise. I've got ace queen on the button. We just won with ace queen here, and I'm going to be all in for my tournament life. David Peters now in the small blind immediately wakes up with a calling hand, so he's at risk for his tournament life. And then the early position player goes all in himself as well. So we've got a 3-way all in. This is a massive pot for over 50 big blinds in this tournament. If I win this, it's my ace queen versus king queen versus pocket jacks. King queen covers the both of us, and I'm hoping to see an ace or queen. Come on. We don't improve, but king queen doesn't either. And here I am crumbled. We lose the main pot as David Peters triples up, and I win the side pot and I double up a very small amount left. And just like that, my chip stack is crumbled.
Sad to lose that 3-way all in. At least I'm still alive, but I just counted how big the pot would have been if I won, and I would have like 650K, 700K, I think. Close to 700K, which would be pretty healthy, but instead for the next minute, I've got 11 big blinds, and I'm gonna have like 8.5 big blinds on the next level. So what a swingy game. We're playing 30Ks and just flipping for turbos, but no place I'd rather be.
So with 8.5 big blinds, I'm under the gun with king queen offsuit, and I'm all in. Because what else are you going to do? We're gonna need some luck here to spin things up. The button makes the call, and we are all in. My king queen versus pocket eights. It's a fair flip, and it feels even more fair when we see a queen on the flop turned completely. Gives me 0%. He turns the set, which feels like the complete opposite of fair. And just like that, in 3 quick hands in rapid succession, I'm out of the tournament. I bluffed off my tournament life, earned some chips, and I lose 3 all-ins back to back to back. And there goes the biggest buy-in I've ever had, and I say goodbye to my $30,000.
Time to go rail Alex, though. He's FT in the 25K, so there's like 8 left. It's pretty freaking sick. Anyways, $30,000 drain. There's one more tournament left in this trip, which is going to be a really big one. It's like the WPT Global Slam 25K, so I imagine it's going to be huge, bigger than, probably even bigger than the last one that we played. So time to fire a lot of bullets, but I am officially stuck on the trip. I think I'm down like maybe 20K maximum. So break even, but now I have another 25K to fire, and I might be firing max bullets tomorrow. So unlucky today. Wasn't able to really win any all-ins. It's the last day of the tournament, last day of the series of Triton. We're ending it off with a bang because Wolfgang just got 4th in the last 25K for $680,000. So congrats to Wolfgang. I'm gonna try to do the same. This is gonna be the biggest tournament of the trip in terms of field size. This is the 25K WPT Global Slam. It's gonna be a massive field for a 25K. We're entering bright and early, level 1, last tournament. So let's try to run good, close off this Triton trip hot, and happy to have already cashed a tournament, so there's less pressure to have a result, I guess, even though it's not something that's really in my control. So that's kind of how tournaments go, but hey, we have a chance to win another $2 million, so it's a great day to be alive.
Time to gamble?
I love gambling. You love gambling?
Yes. You
Makes you feel alive.
A new girlfriend?
New girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Much handsomer. Sure. Oh, it's in the back. Okay, thanks. All right. Sweet, thank you. We are far removed from the poker room.
We're getting settled in today. Today's opponents at the table are Joao Vieira, $21 million in his Hendon mob, and Jonathan Jaffe with $15 million in earnings. Both very accomplished players, and we start off early in level 1. I typically don't show up super early for these tournaments, but for a $25,000 buy-in at Triton and my last attempt to compete in these fields, I'll make the exception today. We're making some disciplined folds, we're showing aggression where we need to, and winning pots sitting above starting stack in the early goings. At this point, on day 5, I feel very confident against these tough opponents, and I'm finally finding my groove with battling against these players. At the 2500 big blind level, I pick up Ace-Jack of hearts. There's an early position player who raises. I make the call, and then on the button, Jonathan Jaffe decides to 3-bet to 22,000. Early position player folds, but with Ace-Jack of hearts, it feels like too much hand to let this one go, so we're off to see a flop. Flop comes 8-7-3 to clubs. I start off with a check, and Jaffe ends up checking this one back, and we see a free turn which gives me top pair and a jack. Here, I think my hand is too good to check back, so I throw out a small bet of 33% of the pot, and I'm followed up by a call. The river comes a board pairing 8, and now at this stage, I'm kind of confused on what I want to do. I feel pulled in every single direction, but I decided to just go all in, betting over the size of the pot, followed up by a fold by Jaffe, so no more value here, but once again picking up more chips. And about an hour and a half later, we get into this next spot. I have pocket 6s under the gun at the 4K big blind level, and I raise it up, and the button decides to 3-bet me to a very small size. Here, feeling priced in to see a flop with pocket 6s, and we can play this hand pretty comfortably, I decide on a call. Flop comes queen 4-5 rainbow here. I start off with a check, and my opponent actually checks this one back surprisingly, so feels like he might not have too strong of a hand. And when the turn comes another queen, actions on me with a pair of 6s here, I feel like I can go one of 2 ways. I think my hand definitely needs some protection, and I kind of want to see where I'm at, and I start off with a very big bet to 100% of the pot. Facing this big bet, my opponent decides on a call, so now I've got some spidey senses tingling where maybe he did slow play a strong hand on this flop, but I don't think he has a queen necessarily. He can still have some aces, some pocket jacks, some pocket 10s, all of those hands make a lot of sense, and when the river comes a 7, I'm sitting here unimproved with just a pair of 6s. Now I decide to go for a blocker bet of 10% of the pot. Once again, wanting to see where I'm at, not necessarily comfortable with the strength of my hand, but my opponent decides to raise me, but to a very small size of only 3 times my bet. Typically in this spot, I'm going to see that I'm up against a lot of pocket 10s, some jacks, hands that I think that would play this way, and definitely never a queen. So I wanted to apply maximum pressure. I know my hand is definitely no good at this point of the hand, so I decided to go all in for 278,000 chips, putting in the most amount of pressure I can against even a hand like pocket aces. Wouldn't be very comfortable, as I could play some full houses this way. But my opponent goes into the tank for a long time, uses the time extension, and I'm not feeling very confident now. Usually when opponents use time extensions, it feels like they don't want to fold, and I run into king queen. My opponent slow played top pair on the flop and somehow got a donkey like myself to commit all of the chips, bluffing it off, and now I left myself with just about half a big blind left. So considering I was under the gun this hand, I am now officially forced all in the big blind now. And I'm steaming, obviously, basically punting off my entire stack. I had hours to play with in the early goings, and I was grooving, I was doing well, I was chipping up. And to let it all just pretty much end in dust from that last hand, bluffing it off, is a feeling of embarrassment and disappointment that I'm just very comfortable with at this point, but still obviously quite frustrated. But here we go. I'm forced all in. My fate is sealed with 9-8 offsuit against ace-jack, which is still a flip. But there's no more magic or luck left in this first bullet of the $25,000 buy-in. Ace-jack will win, and I'm officially out of the tournament on bullet 1.
Maybe turbo punt if he has a queen. Didn't think he has a queen. Was wrong. Bullet number 2 incoming, I guess. So, I'm gonna have to ask some friends about that one. I don't know. Maybe he just always has a queen somehow when he checks back the flop, and then like that's an insanely small, raises an insanely small size on the river. I mean, the pot was 120 on the river. I B10, he just raises 3x, which is like not a believable amount. So I wanted to get like jacks, 10s, kings, aces. Mistakes were made at some point in the hand. God damn it. I'm gonna look at the field, take a lap, probably rebuy. What has gone from a reasonably break-even trip might just get very expensive. Hello. Thanks.
After rebuying on bullet 2, what a treat for my last tournament of this Triton series to be sitting next to Phil Ivey, the generationally goated player in this game, and he actually gives me a WPT global patch to wear. I guess apparently I'm wearing the wrong one.
Need one of these too? Dude, why are these so big? It's a really big patch.
So whatever Phil Ivey says goes. Who am I to say no to him?
If Ivy is wearing this, and he told me to wear it, I have to wear it. Be a responsible ambassador.
To reminisce here and look back at 5 years ago, I literally never would have believed I could be a sponsored poker player and have my face on the same ad in Billboard as Phil freaking Ivey. It's just nice to look back at what a journey it's been so far. And a very big thank you to everyone watching this video and supporting at home. If you've made it to the end of the video already, hit the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And also a big thank you for Club WPT Gold for believing in me. If you want to play online poker at home from the United States, click the link below and use code Rampage. I'll be hosting a $100,000 free roll in September exclusively for those who use my code. So come play the online streets. Maybe you'll catch a punt like the pocket sixes hand that I just had, but we're right into the action. We've got king 10 offsuit in early position, and I raise it up and I get 2 players to make the call. Off to a flop of jack 7-5, 2 diamonds. Action ends up checking through, so there's no betting here. And the 4th card of the turn comes the Queen of Clubs. Very interesting, as 2 flushes out there, and I improve to an open-ended straight draw. What a dream it would be to hit an ace or a 9, right? So when the big blind checks and seeing all the passivity, I throw an overbet of the pot to 44,000. Only one opponent makes the call, and now my heart is pounding. Can we see an ace? Can we see a 9? I do not want to bluff it all off again. River 8. This is not necessarily the card I was hoping to see, but one crucial note of this river is that 10-9 ends up being a straight. And if I'm sitting here with king 10, it just seems like the perfect candidate to bluff this one off. So once again, we're on the river and we have a decision to give up with the bluff or go for it. And you know, every single time I have a chance to go for it, I will. And I muster up the courage to fire out 155,000 chips, basically putting my entire stack all in and a majority of my tournament life at risk. My opponent goes into the tank, but not just any other normal tank. He uses 4 time banks for his decision. Everyone is on break at this point, and this is extremely intimidating. I have never seen someone try to get a read off of me in this intense of a manner. He's changing his positions, he's staring into my soul, he's looking at every single physical attribute where I might be giving off some sort of weakness. And I'm sitting here on my second bullet of this $25,000 buy-in, and I do not want to be in for a third. It's so nerve-wracking at this spot because I just don't have it. To have someone stare into you at your soul like this for minutes on end feels like hours on end. And finally, he folds. Oh my goodness. This was the most nerve-wracking I've ever felt, and somehow my opponent didn't get a read off of me. Luckily, I've had lots of experience bluffing off all of my chips, and they didn't give off any signs of weakness. But whew, man, this was the most intimidating I've ever felt at the poker table.
Can I just have it one time? I never can have it. Why do I have to bluff every single time? One time. Can I bet on the river and I have a hand? I can't have a hand. I can't have value. At least he folds. But why do I have to bluff every single time? It's unbelievable. If I start getting a streak of value, I'm gonna win the tournament. So that's what I need. I've never had someone intimidatingly stare at me like that before. Feeling his eyeballs on me was pretty nuts, actually. I've never felt closer to cracking or wanting to crack in some way than when he was just repostured, stared, and I'm just stop it. This would be a very different conversation if he actually stuck in a call. My goodness. Time for a smoke break.
But actually, I don't think it is.
Hey, Perrier. I almost fired myself into a third bullet right at the last hand of break, and he 7 time bank stared into my soul.
Wow.
And I was scared. I got the fold.
And you needed it.
I never have value. I just want value.
I haven't had value once today. It's crazy. Actually, I did on the I had river, and then my teammate raised me. Very big size, you know. And I'm folding.
You bluffed.
Hello.
You bluffed.
I mean, tried to bluff.
He bluffs.
It depends on his feelings.
After the break, I finally see a premium hand, ace queen of clubs, and there's an opponent all in for his 10 big blinds with ace 6 of hearts. Here with a heavy favorite and a chance to win this pot, I end up holding with the pair of aces, and here we go, scooping up another pot, and after getting one bluff through and winning another all in, it feels like things are going to go my way until another prolonged streak of card death. Like I said in the previous tournaments, these structures go fast. They're literally turbos, so me folding for 2+ hours straight is just detrimental to the progress of the tournament. And after 3 hours of painful folds, I'm crippled down to just 13 big blinds, and I end up being moved to the featured table.
Maybe I won't lose every hand in the next table.
And once the featured table is about to start, we'll be playing on stream yet again, under the bright lights, but I'm card dead. I'm folding my way, dwindling down in chips, and left with only 5 big blinds to play with, and that's all the hope I have to continue my run in this tournament.
I lost 2 hands immediately coming back from break, and now I've got no chips. But I can still win all-ins, maybe. Or I have to fire 3 times into this and be in for 75K, which is not a lovely, friendly number. Late reg closes at the end of this level. I have half a starting stack, so I don't know if I kind of want to rebuy or I have a chance to rebuy, but we got 18 minutes, the clock is going, and we're not playing any hands. And it's a problem because I need to spin. I don't want to be dealt out of the tournament with 7 big blinds. This is the last Triton tournament I'm going to play this trip, so I would like to win. I would like to pull a wolf and just get kings once or twice and then get paid and double up. That would be nice. Good. How are you? Good seeing you. So tilt. The clock is paused now. The level is over and late reg is over. I played 1 hand and I raised folded. Now I've got 75,000 chips going into the 12K big blind. This is not really how I wanted to end the last tournament of my Triton trip. Blinding my ass out. So I'm a little tilted. But I can be positive and be like, this would be a great story to come back and win a bunch of all-ins and win. I don't believe it. Which is probably a bad mindset to be in. But I don't believe it.
And after all of my disciplined folds, I finally get dealt an interesting spot. So there's an early position raise, and then next to act 3 bets him, and I pick up pocket jacks. Clear decision here for my 5 big blinds. I'm just going to be all in, of course, and I just hope I'm not up against a stronger hand. But what's cool is that there's a chance I actually get to triple up in this spot considering all the dead money in the middle, and all I'm praying is to not be up against a stronger hand and hope to win a flip. With a premium and a decent chance to triple up,
Call.
I see that I'm all in at risk.
Let it go?
No.
All right.
But you should be ahead.
Up against ace jack, way better of a situation than I thought. I'm way more of a favorite than just a flip, and I'm actually ahead. And when the board comes clean, here could be the start of something crazy. No ace, no silly business comes, and I triple up my stack. Then in the following hand, there's another early position raise, and I pick up jacks again, this time off of about 15 big blinds after the triple up. This hand saves me earlier. Let's rip it all in again. And the big blind decides to wake up with a hand of his own, but with a smaller stack, he calls all in with ace queen. We're playing with a friend, Adam Hendricks, at the table, 2025 main event final tableist, and he mouthed out to me as we're waiting for the board to run out that he folded a queen. That is beautiful to hear because now that just kind of ticks my percentage in this pot just ever so slightly, and we will win. We faded the ace, we faded the queen, and I stacked an opponent, and somehow this spin is working out. We've somehow spun up a 5 big blind stack at my pure bottom into 55 big blinds. We're sitting healthily 56th in chips out of 181 players remain. This is literally what tournament dreams are made of and what makes this game so fun.
Maybe I should have had more faith. Part 1 complete, part 2 is complete. A little too greedy to ask for a 3rd double up now, so I'm just gonna play normal and hope for the best.
Back on the grind we go. I flick down to ace 6 offsuit on the button, and I raise it up, and I get the small blind and big blind to call. So in position, we're off to a flop of king, king, 4 rainbow. Both of the opponents check it over to me here, and I follow up with a standard bet of 20% of the pot. Small blind lets go of his cards, but the big blind has other intentions in mind. He decides to check raise me to 3.2x of my size. And against this opponent, I obviously know he is very capable of bluffing here, and especially on king, king, 4, it's pretty hard for my opponent to have a whole lot. So kind of reaching here with just ace high, I'm hoping that my hand might be good. I decide to make the call. We're going to see the turn 8 of diamonds, bringing in a flush draw out there, and my opponent now starts off with a check. There's a chance that my opponent actually had a bluff and now might be giving up, or he could have a 4 here trying to raise for protection. But now I think with ace high, I've got a bet for protection, maybe got a bet to bluff out a worse 4 or pair, and I bet 25% of the pot. And when my opponent ends up making the call, I'm seeing some resistance and I'm not loving my chances. The river comes a jack, and I decide to give up on this bluff for once in my life, and it's actually a smart decision because my opponent ended up actually flopping trips with a king. He's got king 9 suited, and I'm going to lose this pot, bluffing off again a decent chunk of my chips, but at least I didn't fire the 3rd barrel where I could have lost a whole lot more.
All right, we're on break. Very fortunate to still be alive, but might have blundered that button versus big blind hand. I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm fighting too hard for pots. I can't really tell. I mean, the guy's really good. Hello. Yes, we will take it to an egg tart. Very fortunate to be alive. I went from 5 big blinds to 55. That's a pretty sick spin up. Gonna have like around 20-ish, a little bit more than 20 in the next level. So still alive, it's good to have life. I'm kind of free rolling this because I had 5 big blinds and I had no faith in being able to double up twice. But here we are.
After we're done with the feature table, we get moved back into the field. We close out the night swinging my stack up, swinging my stack down, but at least we have our friend Joe Chong joining the table. And we ended up bagging a very small stack after a long grind of day 1 here, playing over 12 hours today.
All right, we are still in the game. At some point, I was enjoying the experience. I bagged 6 big blinds coming into day 2 with 18 people need to bust, 19 people need to bust to make it in the money. Anyways, still alive in the game, playing for $1.8 million. Every single tournament has been for over $1 million for first place. So it's pretty incredible. Grateful for the opportunity, and to still be alive is good. I'll see you guys bright and early in the morning tomorrow. Good morning. Day 2 is gonna start in a little bit. I've got 6 big blinds, and we're Oh wow, we're getting close. We're 17 off the money, a little bit closer than I thought. So just gotta win some all-ins again. Last time I had no faith. Maybe that's the trick, to have no faith, pick up jacks twice, and then double. I think that's the play. We're playing on the stream table, which is really cool. Hopefully I last here for the whole day. That would be very, very ideal. And we're playing for $1.8 million. It's just like an unbelievable amount of money.
We are entering day 6, the last day of my Triton high stakes tournament journey. It's day 2 of the $25,000 buy-in, the last tournament I'm here to play, and I've got all the nerves in my system again, restarting for day 2. This is a massive tournament, guys, and being able to play on stream in the featured table feels like such a privilege. But unfortunately, I don't have many chips, or at least not many to start off with, so I'll be playing an all-in game with only 6 big blinds and a dream. So my decisions will be quite easy, and I'm hoping the dealer will be nice to me who will be deciding my fate. 17 players need to bust for us to make the money, and it would be an amazing end to this trip if I can end off with another cash. So our first decision of the day is quite marginal here. Action folds all the way around to the small blind who goes all in for my 5 big blind stack, and I peel 10-6 offsuit. And this is actually really tough, guys. I am not sure what to do with my hand. The thoughts are obviously 10-6 offsuit, pretty awful card. But the other flip side, I've only got 5 big blinds. And if I fold, I actually end up with only 4 with 1 big blind committed. So my thought process is I don't need a very strong hand to call off my tournament life. But 10-7 offsuit, definitely going to be in here for a call. 10-5 offsuit, definitely going to be in here for a fold. And I feel like I'm just in this fringe in-between spot with 10-6. I'm not sure what to do at all. Most of the time, I'm going to be up against some overcards, and it's going to be a flip, and I'm marginally behind. Other times, I actually might be ahead of my opponent. He can just jam like 9-8. He can jam 6-7. He can jam 8-7. All of these hands I'm ahead of. So I'm really torn in between, and after using a time bank or two, I end up flicking in a very reluctant call. This could be wrong. You guys can torch me in the comments below what you guys think, but we're up against King Jack suited, so he ended up having a real hand, but we still have life as it is just a flip, and I've got 40% to win. I end up finding a miraculous river, 6 on the river for a double up. And oh my goodness, this feels like this tournament is meant to be. If I just find the luckiest 3-outer of my life to continue my tournament run, what can stop me now, especially now chipping up to 12.5 big blinds after getting a jam through with Queen 10 suited. And then I pick up Ace Jack of diamonds. We've got 12.5 big blinds at the 40k big blind mark, and I decide to min raise to 2 big blinds here. I think with Ace Jack, it's too good of a hand to be all in with, but when the small blind goes all in himself, I have a very clear raise call, and we are flipping yet again against pocket 7s. This time, I could spin my stack up to nearly 27 big blinds. Can we win another miraculous all in here to have piles of chips? The window card, Jack, followed by a 7. No. And just like that, my opponent has 3 of a kind, and our chances of winning this is looking even more bleak than the 10-6 hand. We need the board to pair for any chance to stay alive, and when the turn does not bring that, we are officially out of the tournament, and our Triton run comes to an end. Can't be that upset. Got very lucky with the 6. The 10-6 hand was really tough, but busting 10 off the money or something is never super fun. But that's a wrap to the series. Thanks for watching along. I ended up firing 5 different events, 7 bullets in total, and total buy-ins amounted to $164,300, cash for $89,500, a loss of $75K pretty much, which is more than I would have expected, but min cashing this would have helped. Overall, like, I can't say it was like a success, but definitely not a failure, I don't think. At least cashing is nice. I've been pretty card dead the whole time, throughout the whole trip, and I played for 35 hours. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm looking forward to the next Triton and more videos to come. Nothing beats some comfort ice cream then after busting out of a tournament.